All right, over now to new developments surrounding Boeing. We're learning that an international panel formed after the Lion Airlines and Ethiopian Airlines crashes that killed everyone on board. They're now preparing to recommend major changes to the way the FAA certifies new planes. The panel was created to review the certification process that allowed the embattled Boeing 737 MAX 8 jets to enter commercial service despite the fatal flaw in the plane's automated system. Joining us now to discuss is Jamie Finch. She's the former Director of Government, Public and Family Affairs at the NTSB. Jamie, always good to have you on.
Thank you.
So the released report now says that the panel will recommend changes to the FAA certification process, but they don't outline exactly what those changes are. Are you able to expand on that for us at all? Or if not, in your opinion, what should be changed?
Well, the report is supposed to be coming out sometime. They're expecting it as early as next week. But this panel was created at the end of April. It was supposed to be 3 months. Obviously, they've overrun that now, and which is not unusual. But they're taking a very thorough look at the FAA's processes as far as the certification process and other processes that they're using. I think that you're going to see some recommendations on how the FAA needs to change its certification of these aircraft, how they have allowed the manufacturers like Boeing and others to be too involved in their own certification process. And so, therefore, you're going to see those kinds of changes. We're also going to see some changes in the processes that they use as far as where it was congressionally mandated by Congress for the FAA to allow Boeing employees that Boeing selected to determine if parts that they were going to be using complied with FAA rules. It doesn't pass the smell test.
So in your opinion, should they take away the ability for companies, Boeing or any other company, to self-check? I mean,
well, here's the thing.
That's kind of questionable,
the problem that's always existed with this, and it was a very tenuous relationship, is that this would work as long as all the players involved were honest players. Exactly, and so as long as everyone is up and above board with everything, then they were going to be perfectly fine. But with the way that it is now that they have, there's been questions and there's doubts on that, and there's speculation. The reputation of the FAA is now damaged. Boeing is now damaged. The entire process is now in question. Now, that's what's very interesting about this JTAR panel that has been looking at this. This panel is an international panel, not just a U.S. representatives, but also authorities from other aviation organizations around the world. They are now, the FAA has always had a stellar reputation, but now they're tainted.
The world used to come to the FAA.
Exactly, for training and everything else. And now, and pretty much, if it came out of the FAA's mouth, it was gospel. Now, they're looking at it with a grain of salt and questioning it, and they're not going to be trusting everything that comes out of FAA immediately. They're going to be questioning questioning things on their own, and they're going to be investigating things on their own and certifying on their own.
So do you think this panel of international experts, if that's what they are, international experts, will they be able to stop things from kind of slipping through the cracks? Do you think they're going to call out the FAA or other manufacturers for any, little defects or issues that they find faulty?
Well, that is the hope. But here's the other
checks and balances, right?
Checks and balances and so forth, and transparency. Transparency is very key here.
Did we lose that over the years, Jamie?
We did lose that. And transparency has been affected by the way that the process has been evolved and has evolved over the years, or devolved, if you will.
Devolved, right.
Exactly.
That's probably a better explanation of it.
But I think that it's important to realize and recognize that the FAA is it's a government agency that's a regulatory agency, but it also doesn't have the resources. And so that's one of the reasons why this entire system was created, because the FAA didn't have the resources to certify all of these and be overseeing all of this as they probably should have been. And that was why that relationship was built. Now that has been broken down, Now you're going to see the FAA tightening their rules and their certification processes and so forth, and we're already seeing evidence of that. But the main thing, and the sad part about it is that Boeing's reputation and FAA's reputations have been tarnished.
Yeah, it'll take a long time, I think possibly a whole generation
Absolutely.
before people forget about this.
It could.
What about the reports that Boeing is continuing to use, hundreds of temporary workers to maintain the planes, even though these MAX planes are grounded still?
Right.
I think people are a little nervous learning about that. Should people be scared knowing that there are temp workers doing this? Are they skilled workers?
No, they're skilled workers. They're skilled workers.
Okay.
They're temporary hires, but they are skilled workers that have a specific, very specific training on maintaining planes.
Okay.
And so it's not just somebody off the street.
It's like, when you hear about the supermarket, when they go on strike and then the so-called scabs go in to work.
No,
it's not like that.
It's not like that. No, it's not like that. These are skilled professional people that have been trained in this. Now, the good news about this, and this is a good news, a good part of it.
If there's anything.
If there is anything. Number one, Boeing has not stopped or slowed production of the 737 MAX yet. Now, the reason why that's good is because that keeps all of these people employed, the suppliers, the other services, the restaurants, all the things that go into the economy that keeps this going. So that's good news. Now Boeing has made noise, and just at the end of last month was talking to its investors in an investment call that they would possibly be slowing or stopping the production of the 737 MAX if this goes on much longer. Now, that's the $64,000 question. When is this going to end? We don't know yet. And so once that does stop, and once we do have, and we do have the plane, if and when we do have the planes recertified.
We haven't come to the cliff yet.
We haven't come to the cliff yet. But these people that are doing this maintenance work, and they're hiring hundreds. They have not really announced how many they're hiring, but there have been, you can look at the announcements for temporary hires that they're doing around the country, because Boeing's producing these planes in Washington State, but they're flying them to other locations. Now, they can't fly them commercially with passengers, but they can fly them to a storage facility, move them, exactly. And some of them are in Kansas, some of them are in other places in Washington State and around the country, and they are maintaining these planes. The reason why it's important that these planes are maintained is if you just go and park something and just let it sit, and then it's got insects and bugs,
dust,
and then the plane becomes damaged just by the environment. So these planes so this is good news.
Okay, I guess there's a little bit, light at the end of the tunnel, maybe. So good news that these workers are skilled workers, so people should kind of rest assured there. As always, appreciate your expertise in joining us here, Jamie. Jamie Finch, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.